There are two pieces of aluminum angle. They're each about 1.5 inches on the edge, and they're almost 8 feet tall. They start out aluminum, and I paint them so they're dark purple. And the idea I had for this, since I had the opportunity to do anything I wanted in this space, was to darken the space to immediately help someone, encourage someone to slow down simply by the technique of darkening the room. And then I wanted, the image I was going for was light emerging out of darkness. That was in my mind. So I made some stabs at it, and I thought if I painted these elements dark, and if I put them in a dark enough room, if I was lucky, I would be able to see some glowing color emerge out of the darkness. It didn't actually turn out that way when I installed it. There's always surprises, and this is no exception. So I found that the glowing color aspect of things was too subtle. It is there if one walks around it and sees it from the side and goes up close and has a dark, orients oneself so that the background is dark and your eyes get adjusted, you're able to see some color glowing in the darkness. I found instead, however, that if this was just experimenting after I got here, that by angling the bases so that the two faces of the aluminum angle are not parallel, but instead are coming together, and then also by having two light sources so that between them they created a dark shadow in the back, that if someone is looking straight at the center of the piece from the front, what you see is a glowing band of light against darkness. So in a way I achieved what I had earlier set out to do, but it was through a playing around and experimenting after I got here. The glowing band of light in the center is the reflected light. It isn't the color in the actual aluminum. So I think it gives an extra mysterious aspect, because if you stare at it, it's a little hard to tell where any edge is and where the light is coming from. This piece, also the theme of light emerging out of darkness, is what I was aiming for. So it's the color in the middle that's flanked by darker colors. This wasn't the piece I thought of putting in this show prior to installing the show. I brought 5 wall pieces. That one was my least likely candidate. I almost left it at home. And instead, I brought it along. I tried all the other ones. I was very gloomy about all the other ones. And then I thought, oh, what the heck, I'll put up this one, even though I ought to have left it at home in the first place. And voila, it just sang
The middle of that is really great.
when the other ones were dead. So in this one here, I had a wonderful comment that someone from the audience came, an observation that I'll pass along. And to me, it's like that small drop of approval I was speaking about in the when I was up there in the forum. He said, and he's a painter, he said he came in here, and as his eyes became used to the darkness and dilated, the color just emerged. So at first he didn't see the color. At first the glow in it wasn't very apparent, and the longer he was in the room, just the deeper that glow appeared to him. Then in this piece, the last thing I'll say is that I especially like how the glow isn't uniform top to bottom. How it's basically you aren't able to see it at the top, and it just appears.